Good morning, and you're very welcome from Gleneiden in Westmeath for the round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb and Sprint Championship 2025. We seem to have some gremlins with the audio. I don't know whether you can hear me properly, but we're working on it. And Run has just finished, so you just saw the single-seaters pass us, and we are waiting for Run 2 to start. So thank you very much for tuning in to Vantage Video, Facebook and YouTube Live. And this is round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb and Sprint Championship 2025 here from Gleneiden in Westmeath. While we're waiting, I might as well give you the results as they are now. Siobhan McCann is currently leading in her Ray, 56.96, followed by Billy White. Oh, we have a car. There seems to be a bit of an interruption, so I quickly go through the results. So Siobhan McCann, who did the fastest time of the day yesterday, is currently leading with 56.96. Billy White then 57 flat. Russell Stanworth the same, 57.00. Chris Snow Jr. then in his Honda Civic 58.13. Declan Gannon 1/100th of a second behind, 58.14. Stephen Faulkner 58.20. John Pettit 59.53. Willie Barrett 59.62. Shane Quinn 1:00.14. Shay Delaney 1:00.41. John O'Donnell 1:00.56. Ronan Quinn 1:00.64. Patrick Bradley 1:00.99. Tommy Gardner 1:01.06. David McGinney 1:01.21. John Mahon 1:02.34. Noel Doyne 1:02.73. Georgie Bell 1:03.41. Brian Kerwin 1:03.60. Gary Riley 1:03.66. Joseph Smith 1:04.51. Graham Bradley 1:04.56. Michael Tumulty 1:04.61. John Farrell 1:05.83. Enda Byrne 1:05.92. David Furlong 1:06.06. Shane Maron 1:06.18. Gary Bradley 1:06.29. Brendan O'Reilly 1:06.65. Cahill Smith 1:06.75. Kieran Burke 1:06.99. Jean Callan 1:07.06. Leo Conniff 1:07.21. Elaine Kerwin 1:09.28. Chris Snow Sr. 1:09.44. Keith Cullen 1:09.49. Mick O'Shea 1:10.13. Robert Cummins 1:13.96. Johnny Murray 1:14.77. Jerry Devereaux 1:15.22. Ethan Mulcahy 1:15.90. Jack Moore 1:16.43. John Carter 1:17.04. Aaron Kerwin 1:17.43. Quiver White 1:18.05. Jack Kelly 1:18.30. Stephen Devereaux 1:19.37. and Francis Dempsey 1:22.70. That's the current standing. You can find the times under timing.irishhillclimb.com, and this is round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb and Sprint Championship 2025 here from Glenaiden in Westmeath, and it's hosted by the Westmeath and District Motor Club. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I think we're back to more action from round 2. So this was the last car of run 2. We are now going to check whether we have the times yet for run 2 for you. Yeah, they're actually in the timesheet. So I'm just going to refresh this for the overall. So at the moment leading with the fastest time is Russell Stanworth with a 56.15, followed by Siobhan McCann 56.25. Then we have Billy White 57, Declan Gannon 57.83, Chris Snow Jr. 58.13, Stephen Fortnan 58.20, John Pettit 58.90, Willie Barrett 59.02, Tommy Gardner 59.76, Gavin McGuiney 59.88, Shane Quinn 10014, Shay Delaney 10041, John O'Donnell 10056, Ronan Quinn 10064, Johnny Mahon 10086, Patrick Bradley 10099, Noel Doyne 10231, Brian Corwin 10311, Georgie Bell 10341. Sorry, Brian Corwin 10011, Georgie Bell 10341, Keith Connon 10352, Gary Riley 10366, Joseph Smith 10373, Graham Bradley 10440, Michael Tumulty 10440 as well, Gary Bradley 10442, Brandon O'Reilly 10484, David Furlong 10545, John Farrell 10557, Cahill Smith 10560, Shane Marin 10583, Enda Byrne 10592, Jean Callan 10678, Kieran Burke 10699, Leo Conniff 10721, Elaine Kerwin 10928, Mick O'Shea 10931, Chris Snow Senior 10944, Robert Cummins 11353, Jerry Devereaux 11417, Jack Mannion 11439, Johnny Murray 11477, Ethan Mulcahy 11531, John Carter 11536, Jack Moore 11643, Stephen Devereaux 11722, Aaron Kerwin 11733, Quiva White 11740, Jack Kelly 11817, and Francis Dempsey 12270. We thank you very much for bearing with us while we sorted out those sound problems. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. You can find us on Vantage Point Video. And thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any requests, or if you want us to give you a shout out or anything, please comment on the video. And thank you very much for watching. This is round 10 of the Electro-Irish Hillclimb Sprint Championship 2025 here from Gleneiden in County Westmeath. I believe this is the end of round 3, and Senan is near the start line, or finish line if you want, and he has Siobhan McCann there with an interview for us. So let's switch over to that feed. Um,
Do you know, like, and it slips sometimes, and I need.
So the joys of live broadcasting, there's always something. Today it's the sound. But at least you can hear me, I believe. So I'm going to give you the results as they are now. Leading at the moment is Russell Stanworth in his Reynard Opel Lotus with a best time of 56.15 recorded in run 2. Then we have Siobhan McCann, who you saw but didn't hear earlier. Unfortunately, there seemed to be misfires in her car, so her run 3 time was over a minute, but she's still second with the best time of 56.22, so just 0.10 of a second behind Russell. Billy White then 57 flat, so that's also just 3/4 of a hundredth of a second behind Russell, so it's all very bunched up there. Then we have Declan Gannon in his Ford Fiesta 57.83, Stephen Faulkner 58.05, Chris Snow Jr. 58.13, Willie Barrett 58.33, John Pettit 58.90, Shane Quinn 59.40, Shay Delaney 59.47, Gavin McGinney 59.68, Tommy Gardner 59.76, John O'Donnell 10056, Ronan Quinn 10064, John Mahan 10086, Patrick Bradley 10099, Noel Doyne 10207, Graham Bradley 10275, Brian Kerwin 10280, Georgie Bell 10332, Michael Tumulty 10342, Gary Riley, it's Jerry Riley, sorry. 10349, Keith Cullen 10352, Joseph Smith 10373, David Furlong 10417, Gary Bradley 10442, Brendan O'Reilly 10484, Cahill Smith 10495, John Farrell 10499, Enda Byrne 10567, Shane Marin 10583, Jean Callan 10634, Leo Conniff 10672, Kieran Burke 10699, Mick O'Shea 10771, Elaine Kerwin 10907, Chris Snow Sr. 10925, Robert Cummins 11353, Jerry Devereaux 11392, Johnny Murray 11399, Jack Mannion 11439, John Carter 11489, Ethan Mulcahy 11531, Jack Kelly 11627, Jack Moore 11643, Stephen Devereaux 11722, Kiva White 11727, Aaron Kerwin 11733, and Francis Dempsey 12270. This is the lunch break now, and we thought we were going to have a dry day all day, but it's after drizzling a bit. Hopefully that will soon come to an end, and we'll be back to the lovely weather that we're used to here in Westmeath, well, since this morning anyway. While the marshals and officials are getting a well-deserved break of this really well-run event, I must say, fair play to Westmeath District Motor Club. It's running like clockwork. Amazing to be at run 3 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and waiting for run 4 to commence. Amazing. So while we're waiting and they have their deserved lunch, I'm going to give you a rundown of the classes and the class sponsors. If you're thinking of sponsoring one of the classes and don't have sponsors yet, which is classes 9B and 10, please get in touch with a member of the commission. Class sponsorship for 1 year is €250, and your company name will be featured on the cars in that class during launch and during our streams, as well as at the end of the season prize given. The championship sponsor is Alecto. Alecto provides an electrical design, build and software development service to some of Ireland's leading production machine building companies. They also integrate end-of-line packaging systems to Irish manufacturing sites, and their website is alecto.ie. Class 1A is the Bantam Saloon class, Performance Factor Class 5, production, modified production saloons and roadsters up to 1400cc. They are sponsored by David Byrne Auto Repairs, and their website is dbyrneautorepairs.com. So all in one word, www.dbyrneautorepairs.com. Class 1B then is the Cento Challenge class. Fiat, Cinquecento and Seicento as per the technical regulations published on the Motorsport Ireland website. This class is sponsored by the late Simon McKinley, who, alongside Dermot Nolan, came up with creating this highly competitive class, which has served several drivers as a start into motorsport. The cars are actually roadworthy, so they have to have everything working and all the seats and benches in. So have a look at the specifications. It's really interesting how these cars are then made racing ready with roll cages and extinguishers for you to enjoy your first step into motorsport, if you like. But they're getting rare, so you better get in there quickly. Class 2 then is the 1600 Saloon class, Performance Factor Class 4 production, modified production saloons and roadsters between 1401 and 1650cc. They're sponsored by DG Autos, and who are based in Ballyneety, County Limerick. So they supply new and used cars, vans and 4x4s, and are a specialist in sourcing vehicles to their customer specifications. Declan is currently competing in the White R5 Fiesta in both Hillclimb and some stage rallying events, and their website is dgautos.ie. I repeat, www.dgautos.ie. Class 3A then is the Super Saloon class, Performance Factor Class 3, production, modified production saloons and roadsters between 1651 and 2100cc, front engine sports cars up to 1650cc with car-derived engines and up to 1200cc with motorbike-derived engines, silhouette cars and space-framed saloons up to 1650cc. This class is sponsored by Barrett Trailers, who are based in Kilfinane, County Limerick. They are the main dealers for Brian James Trailers, Cheval Liberté Horse Trailers, Devon Box Trailers, Tough McCattle and Agri Trailers, Erde Trailers, and have a huge range of trailer parts in stock and also repair trailers. Excuse me. Willie Barrett, who is the owner of the business, can be contacted through their website barretttrailers.ie or on 063 91843. I repeat the website www.barretttrailers.ie with double R and triple T. Class 3B is the Ultimate Saloon class, Performance Factor Class 2, production, modified production saloons over 2100cc, roadsters over 2100cc, and silhouette cars from 1651cc to 2100cc, space-framed saloons over 1650cc, front-engine sports cars with bike-derived engines over 1200cc, and front-engine sports cars with car-derived engines between 1651 and 2100cc, four-wheel drive production saloons and modified saloons. This class is sponsored by Dirk Yacht Charter. They specialize in skippered cruises on a very fast Red Bay 32-foot rib on Loch Dirk, and contact Paula or Rory Stevens for more information. Shout out to Paula and Rory. We feel quite neglected at this stage, and greetings from the grandchildren. Class 3C is the sports car class, Performance Factor Class 1, silhouette cars over 2100cc and rear-engine sports cars, as well as front-engine sports cars with car-derived engines over 2100cc, alloy and composite saloons unlimited. Sponsor here is the Galway Mini Centre, Ray Cunningham's business. Their website is galwayminicenter.com. So I repeat, www.galwayminicenter.com. Next we have Class 4, the Historics class, classic cars as per HRCA regulations. You can reference Motorsport Ireland Appendix 49 and FIA Appendix K. Compliance documents will be required, and this class is sponsored by CBI Freight UK Limited, Mick O'Shea's business, and their website is cbifreight.co.uk. Class 1J then, I have to put that up in the line. Actually, I might as well show you the sponsors so you don't have to be looking at me all the time. So Class 1J is the junior saloon class, drivers aged between 13 and 17 inclusive, modified production saloon cars eligible for this class are Fiat 100 Challenge as per Hillclimb's technical regulations. Class 1B, there's our championship photographer outside my window. Here he is, live on camera. Sorry, I give you the sponsors again because they're so nice. So, Class 1J. So, they are the junior saloon class, drivers aged between 13 and 17. Modified production saloon cars eligible for this class are Fiat 100 Challenge as per Hillclimb technical regulations 1B, cars that comply with junior rallycross regulations, and junior mini challenge cars as per mini challenge regulations, and J1000 cars as per 1100 regulations. This class is sponsored by Motorsport Ireland. Their website is motorsportireland.ie, if I'm not mistaken. It's motorsportireland.com actually. And that's where you'll find all the regulations if you're interested. Class 5 then features Formula Ford and Formula V class, Formula Ford 1600, Classic Formula Ford 1600 as per current or previous Ford Motorsport regulations, Formula V as per current or previous Formula V regulations, Appendix 45. This class is sponsored by the Limerick-based DPF clinic, Ben O'Brien's business. Shout out to Ben, hopefully you'll come out in your Gould soon. They are experts in modern diesel emission systems, covering all aspects of DPF and AdBlue SCR system repairs and diagnostics. Their website is www.dpfclinic.ie. So it's www.dpfclinic.ie. Next we have Class 6, the super single-seater class. Single-seaters up to 2100cc having only 2 valves per cylinder, and single-seaters up to 1650cc with more than 2 valves per cylinder. This class is sponsored by Cottage Kitchens, Siobhan McCann and Enda Burns business. They design and make bespoke kitchens, utilities, pantries and islands, but also wardrobes, living room units, home office, under-stair storage, custom-built stairs and storage solutions. They are based in Gorey but cover the whole Leinster area. They can be found on Facebook and Instagram, and their contact page is available on their website cottagekitchens.ie. I repeat, www.cottagekitchens.ie. Then we have Class 7, the Libra class, which features single-seaters. Oh, sorry. Single-seaters over 2100cc having only 2 valves per cylinder, as well as single-seaters over 1650cc having more than 2 valves per cylinder, rear-engine sports cars over 2100cc, and four-wheel drive cars that are not rally, production or modified production saloons. The class sponsor here is Bell Homes. They are Frank Bell and Sons Limited, are a revered second-generation homebuilder near Mullingar, delivering high-quality homes since 1976. Spearheaded by Managing Director Shane Bell, whom you might know as a competitor in his Subaru Impreza, the company has maintained its reputation for excellence through nearly 5 decades of consistent quality craftsmanship, and they focus on local development and maintaining high standards in construction. Their website is bellhomes.ie, www.bellhomes.ie. Next we have Class 8B, which is the 1650cc 16-valve rally cars, two-wheel drive rally cars up to 1650. No, sorry. I skipped Class 8A. Sorry. Class 8A is 1650cc 8-valve rally cars, performance factor Class 6, two-wheel rally drive cars rally cars up to 1650cc with not more than 2 valves per cylinder. This class is sponsored by AK Services, Alan Kane's business. They're a supplier of all things roofing and spray foam insulation for houses and sheds. And you can reach Alan under 083 094 8440. 083 094 8440. Next we have class 8B now. That's 1650cc 16 valve rally cars, 2-wheel drive rally cars up to 1650cc with more than 2 valves per cylinder. Sponsored by Brian Curvin Auto Developments, providing the following services: vehicle servicing and repairs, pre-DOF and NCT inspection and rectification, cars and commercials and 4x4s, emission testing and repair, battery sales, wheel alignment, diagnostic and fault finding, and they're based in Adamstown, County Wexford. And you can reach Brian under 087 299 1460. 087 299 1460. Next we have class 9A, the 2100cc 8 valve rally cars, 2-wheel drive rally cars from 1651cc to 2100cc with not more than 2 valves per cylinder, sponsored by UMG Carpentry and Construction in Ballintoher, County Sligo, Alton McGowan's business, who are based in Sligo, serving the northwest of the country. All types of roofing and construction are undertaken by them, and you can give Alton a call on 086 384 6973. So I repeat, 086 384 6973. So between Alton and Allen, all our roofing needs to the east and the west of the country are looked after. Class 9B then, and that's one of the classes that hasn't got a sponsor yet, as the same as Class 10. Class 9B is the 2100cc 16 valve rally cars, 2-wheel drive rally cars from 1651cc to 2100cc with more than 2 valves per cylinder. And then we have Class 10, the unlimited rally class, 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive rally cars over 2100cc. These classes must apply to all championship events, and the organising clubs may include extra classes or amalgamate classes subject to the approval of the Hillclimb Sprint Commission. Rally cars must run rally ready to include tyres, seats, etc. So you can still sponsor these two classes and get in touch with Enda, Siobhan or Ben to sponsor them. We're going to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to keep the camera going on the pub. It's very busy there with spectators and marshals and stuff, while they're probably sheltering from the rain a bit. You can also see Martin making his way to a new position. So thank you very much for tuning in. Round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb Sprint Championship 2025 here in Gleneiden, County Westmeath. Just as a recap, Russell is currently leading, followed by Siobhan and Billy White, and it'll be surely interesting to see what Siobhan and Billy White have in stock for us to try and chase Russell. So we have a 5-minute break. The cars will be back on track at 1:20, I'm told. So thank you very much for tuning in. Have a lovely afternoon with some nice motorsport action, and I'm reassured by Senan that he has a nice spot at the bottom of the hill, or maybe even the start line, so we can be looking forward to a 3-camera feed plus my one. So that should be fun. Have a lovely afternoon, and thanks again for tuning in. And like I said, we'll be back in 5 minutes with more action.
Three. Welcome to the Westmeath and District Motor Club Hillclimb. We're getting ready for run 4 here. Just testing out our sound here just after the start line. Hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Some great action there from the start line, thanks to Senan, who's out there now looking for a new location for you so that you get the full impression of the whole hill. I'm still waiting for the times for round 4. It's only 2 p.m. and we're already at the end of round 4. Amazing. Well done to the Connacht Motor Club. So I'm just going to refresh the times here so that I can give you the latest. Yeah, here we are. Russell Stanworth is still leading with 55.74. He bettered his time again. So 55.74 his fastest time in his Reynard Opel Lotus. Then we have Siobhan McCann in her Ray, 56.25, and then Billy in the Renault Roger, 56.35. So there's not much between them, and it's really a good fight all of them are putting up. Then next thing we have Declan Gannon in his Ford Fiesta R5, 57.83, Stephen Faulkner, 58.05, Chris Snow Jr., 58.13, Willie Barrett, 58.33, John Pettit, 58.90, Shane Quinn, 59.40, Shay Delaney, 59.46, Gavin McGinney, 59.68, and Tommy Gardner, 59.76. And Daryl, the bike marshal, is already making his way back down to the start line for round 5. Amazing. So then we have John O'Donnell, 10027, Ronan Quinn, 10064, John Mahan, 10086, Patrick Badley, 10099, Noel Doyne, 10207, Brian Coleman, 10263, Gary Riley, 102.64. Graham Bradley 102.75. Keith Cullen 103.27. Georgie Bell 103.32. Michael Tumulty 103.42. Joseph Smith 103.52. Cahill Smith 104.06. David Furlong 104.17. Gary Bradley 104.42. Brandon O'Reilly 104.82. John Farrell 104.99. Enda Byrne 105.57. Shane Maron 105.83. Jean Callan 106.34. Lee O'Connor 106.72. Kieran Burke 106.99. Mick O'Shea 107.71. Elaine Kerwin 109.07. Chris Snow Sr. 109.25. Robert Cummins 113.53. Jerry Devereaux 113.92. Johnny Murray 113.99. Jack Mannion 114.22. Ethan Mulcahy 114.30. John Carter 114.89. Stephen Devereaux 115.75. Jack Kelly 116.27. Jack Moore 116.43. Quiver White 116.55. Aaron Kerwin 160.74 and Francis Dempsey 122.70. I'm expecting the next cars to come around our corner here soon, and then we're looking forward to a new feed from Senan as well. Thank you very much for tuning in to round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb and Sprint Championship 2025. This is the one before last hill climb before our championship registered hill climb before the end of the season, when we meet again in Sligo, which will be, I think, on the 18th and 19th of August. I'll just grab that information for you. Yes, no, so, sorry, August 23rd and 24th is the Connacht Hill climb near Dromahair probably, and then we have the two non-championship events in Galway, July 12th and 13th, and Donegal, September 6th and 7th. So thanks again for tuning in to Vantage Point Video Facebook and YouTube Live. We're ready to present you with more footage for Run 5 of Round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb and Sprint Championship 2025, and thank you very much for tuning in. This is the end of run 5. Some serious action there on the hill, while we see Daryl making his way up to the top of the hill. And I'm wondering, will the club give us a run 6 like they did yesterday? However, as far as I'm concerned, a 6th run, the times wouldn't count. So this would just be giving the drivers another a bit more practice. But I'm just getting confirmation from Daryl that this is it for today. So this was the last run. The last driver on the road was Billy White. So we have the times in, and nothing much has changed apart from the fact that Russell Stanworth has bettered his time yet again to 55.33, and by that achieved the fastest time of the day today. He's followed by Siobhan McCann, hooray, which seems to have taken a little knock at the front. I saw when she was going by. Her fastest time 56.25, which was run 2. And then we have Billy White in his Renault Roger, 56.35, recorded in run 4. Following on from those 3 single-seaters, we have Declan Gannon, 57.28 in his Ford Fiesta R5. Shane Quinn in his Ford Escort Mark II, 57.95. Then Stephen Faulkner in his Ford Escort Mark II, 58.05. Chris Snow Jr. in his Honda Civic, 58.13. Willie Barrett in his Honda FN Type R, 58.33. John Pettit in his Darien T90 GTR, 58.90. Shay Delaney in his Honda Civic, 59.44. Gavin McGuiney in his Ford Escort, 59.68. Tommy Gardner in his Honda Civic, 59.76. John O'Donnell in his BMW M3, 10027. Ronan Quinn in his Ford Escort Mark II, 10036. John Mahan in his DJ ADS1, 10086. Patrick Bradley in his Civic, 10099. Noel Doyne in his Ford Escort Mark II, 10154. Brian Cowan in his Peugeot 205 rear-wheel drive, the yellow one, 10263. Gary Riley in his Honda Civic, 10264. Graham Bradley in his Honda Civic, 10275. Kyle Smith in his Mitsubishi Evo 9, 10289. Keith Cullen in his Honda Civic EK4, 10327. Joseph Smith in his Ford Escort, 10331. Georgie Bell then in his Honda Civic, 10332. Michael Tumulty in his Peugeot 106 GTI, 10342. David Furlong in his Mark II Escort, 10417. Gary Bradley then in his Escort, 10442. Brendan O'Reilly in his Escort, 10482. John Farrell in his Ford Escort RS 2000, 10499. Enda Byrne then in the Formula V, 10525. Shane Marin in his Ford Escort Mark II, 10583. Gene Callan in his Ford Escort Mark II, 10634. Leo Conniff in his Punto, 10627. Kieran Burke in his Ford Escort Mark II, 10699. Mick O'Shea in his MG BGT, 1600, 10771. Chris Snow Sr. in his Civic, 108. No, sorry, I skipped Elaine. Shame on me. Elaine Kerwin in her Starlet, 10826. Then Chris Snow Sr. in his Civic, 10837. Jerry Devereaux in his Peugeot 205, 11341. Robert Cummins in his Seicento, 11353. Johnny Murray in his Cento, 11399. John Carter then in his Ford Escort Mark II, 11402. Jack Mannion in his Starlet, 11422. Ethan Mulcahy in his Seicento, 11430. Stephen Devereaux in his Peugeot 205, 11490. Jack Moore in his Nissan Micra K11, 11577. Aaron Kerwin in his Fiesta, 11602. Jack Kelly in his Fiesta 116.27, Quiva White in her Seicento 116.30, and Francis Dempsey in his Cinquecento 122.70. We would love to thank the marshals, the organisers, the people who worked late in the pub last night, I'm told, and all the competitors and everyone for making this great event happen. I'm glad the weather dried up again, and I'm not sure. Yeah, Senan might be looking to get us some interviews. Maybe we'll get to talk to Russell Stanworth, who I think this is his second time fastest time of the day. If I'm wrong, please correct me, Russell. And we're delighted for him. He puts in a lot of effort. He does every run. I think he's always there, and it's great to see when that pays off. So his best time today, 55:33. Which is a great time, Russell. So congratulations on the fastest time of the day, and congratulations also to Siobhan and Billy White for making it interesting, keeping it interesting, and giving us all a good time. So we're going to check in with Senan there in a second. I'm going to give you the view of the pub until we figure out whether we can get some interviews for you. And just before I sign off, I'd like to thank you very much for watching and for tuning into Vantagepoint Video, Facebook and YouTube Live. This was round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb and Sprint Championship 2025, and hopefully we'll have some interviews for you to finish the stream. Thanks for tuning in. It seems that there is another car on the start line, so we will have a sixth run. Excellent. So we will give you that footage, and then we will also try and get you some interviews. So thanks again for tuning in. Here we are. Run 6. Senin is giving David Byrne Auto Repairs, the sponsor of Class 1A, a bit more screen time here, while Elaine Kerwin is standing on the lane waiting for Daryl to give the marshal at the start line the go-ahead to let her go up the hill for her run 6. So hopefully soon Daryl will be back at the start line. Yeah, looks like something's happening, and we'll be back with more action. What we saw there is Daryl clearing the track before he lets any cars onto it. I'm not sure which car caused the interruption, but he has to make sure that all the cars are off the road so that the road is clear for Elaine going up as soon as he gives her the go-ahead. So soon we'll be seeing him go past us again. I'd say that's his usual routine, although this is a loop course, so you never see the cars come back down. That's why they can be so efficient. So here he is coming down the hill now, making sure and as soon as he gets down to the start line, then he will give the marshal on the start line the okay to let Elaine go for her 6th timed run. Yeah, I believe I saw a dog on the course there. Just as well, the marshal raised the flag, and now Daryl is going to look for the owner and have a word. So just a short interruption to clear the road and get the dog off the road, and then we'll be back.
Am I destroying your picture?
No. Focus.
Maybe Senan could give us a little recap of what Siobhan had to say when he did the interview earlier. That'd be great.
Thanks, Sarah. I think you're trying to hang me out to dry there. Let me zoom that back. This is a one-man operation down here. So yeah, we were talking to Siobhan earlier, and we had an audio problem. So sorry about that. I think we got it out from our end, but anyway, we'll see what happens. She was just saying she was having gear selection problems as she was coming into the junction that you're watching up at the pub. So as she was trying to go down the gears, she was having a bit of drama, and she was actually freewheeling around it, which is a hairy enough thing to do. So it looks like, from what I saw on where you're watching, she seems to have gotten on top of that. Russell was leading at that stage. She's obviously delighted with her results yesterday, and I'm not sure what the implications are with the championship, but hopefully she's on top of it now, and enjoying the fact that there's three drivers thereabouts for the win. So that's exciting stuff. I think I hear Daryl on his way back down now, so we should be underway again shortly.
Thank you very much, Senan. Yeah, in fact, I just saw Daryl pass us here, and he's bringing Aaron Kerwin back to the paddock. I hope he'll get his sixth run. Any time behind the wheel for those juniors is precious, so especially under competition circumstances. So hopefully he will go out for his sixth run alongside his father Brian. And there we see Senan maybe trying to get an interview with Willie Barrett later on. We'll see. But anyway, Daryl is on his way back down now, so we will switch to Senan. I know he's not interviewing him. But yeah, so Daryl is just on his way back down now, so we should have footage for you again quite quickly of sixth run of round 6 of round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb Sprint Championship 2025. Thanks again for tuning in to Benchpoint Video, Facebook and YouTube Live.
That's it, boys.
Stephen was meant to do a 6 run. I don't know if he's going to do it.
Any more?
Hello, now. Hold on.
Thank you.
That's a double drive. So we'll wait till he comes back around.
So while we heard them say this is it, boys, they are going to offer Brian Kerwin another go. He's currently sitting in with his son Aaron. I'm glad Aaron got his 6th run after the little interruption we had earlier. So we will see now whether Brian Kerwin is going to go out again in his own car. It's always a little bit stressful if you're double driving, or in this case actually driving one part of the race with your son and then getting into your own car to compete yourself. On top of that, Brian, I think, is not in the car that he would like to be in. The orange car is currently being, well, he's gonna be changed, and he has a few bits and pieces to go into it, so unfortunately he couldn't bring it out today, which is why he's here in his yellow rally car. And I believe that he is going to be competing in the Wexford Rally in it, so you can get a chance to see him there again. He's always great to watch, I must say. Mind you, the orange car is something else on the hills. There is no comparison between the two, I think, but I leave that up to you, the viewers, to make up your own mind about that. So we'll see whether Brian wants to have a 6th run as well, or whether he's going to call it a day. It's very nice of the club to be offering him that and waiting for him to get down. I'm keeping an eye on the start line for you, and maybe we will get some interviews with sound this time from Senan. And yeah, I don't know what went wrong there. It's very possible that I didn't hit all the buttons I need to hit to get the complete signal from a camera, but it's a learning curve. We're trying our best to provide you with as much footage and as many angles as we can, so please bear with us, and thanks again to everyone for tuning in, for your comments, for your likes, and for watching the streams. So we're just gonna keep an eye here on the start line, and the start line is not very far from the paddock, so if we don't get to talk to anyone at the start line, Senan might hop over to the paddock while I can give you the run 6 results, and then we'll see who Senan will get for an interview. Might as well just show you the action outside the pub again. It's possible that they put up a barbecue again. The community really got involved with the Hillclimb. It was the same last year. They are so good for getting everybody on board to provide food for the marshals. You get a lunch package, you get a breakfast, you get a dinner. It's really worth marshalling in Westmeath, I tell you that much. So thanks again to the Westmeath District Motor Club. So here's Brian on the line in his car. Great. So this was definitely the last car we saw in action today. I have the confirmation of that, and Senan is now on his way to get us an interview, I hope. I can give you the run 6 times if you're interested, but again, I do think that they don't count towards any championship points or the like. But it's nice that the club, given that they were finished so early, allowed the drivers a bit more time behind the wheel. So they're obviously not in order, I can see that by looking at it just once, but Christopher Snow Jr. did a 1:00.73, Willie Barrett a 58:52, John Pettit a 58:34, Tommy Gardner 59:48. Sorry, Gavin McGuiney 59:48, Tommy Gardner 1:00.53. Then we have Gary Riley 1:02.99, Joseph Smith 1:02.70, Graham Bradley 1:03.70, Michael Tumulty 1:04.18, David Furlong 1:04.86, Gary Bradley 1:07.21, Shane Maron 1:05.65, Chris No Senior 1:07.94, Elaine Kerwin 1:09.05, John Carter 1:13.13, Gary Devereaux 1:13.27, Jack Mannion 1:14.50, Stephen Devereaux 1:17.66, and Jack Kelly 1:18.06. I don't see a time for Alan Curran, that's a bit odd. Let me just refresh this here. And we obviously don't have a time. Oh, we have Siobhan McCann on the screen. Just give me a second. We don't want to.
Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. Sarah, do you get some sound there? We're actually ready there. Looks like you guys were ready.
Right.
So that's a wrap. You're all packed up for the weekend. Siobhan, sorry we had an audio problem earlier, so we didn't get to hear. But I was telling them you were having some gear selector issues. Was that around run 2 and 3? Did you get that sorted out?
I got it sorted, on the last couple of runs, but just me and the pub, for some reason, just that corner just did not get on the last 2 runs. So I was very close, I'd say, to the bail on my last run. It felt slippier now than it was earlier, so I don't know if that was, partly some of it, because I know Billy was very close, and I think, we were all. But look, it was an absolutely great weekend. It was the battle between us all was brilliant. I'm absolutely delighted for Russell. I think that's just class now. He's chuffed down there. He was doing a little rain dance earlier. So, no, very happy with the weekend. And look.
Have you been able to keep the championship battle alive?
As far as I know, yeah. So I'm second overall today, and Billy's third. So and now obviously Russell is.
So that's kind of what you needed to do, really.
Yeah. I needed to stay ahead of Billy.
Yeah.
But I don't know where it is now.
Yeah, because
with
of Russell. So fair play to him.
But it's brilliant.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's
mean?
cool.
It's great, and even Russell was saying, and Billy, they don't know this the competition this intense at the top 3 cars for a long time. So look, it was a great day, and great weekend and great piece of road. A bit bumpy after the pub now, I have to say. We were all kind of...
Some interesting press there.
Yeah, very, very interesting, But no, it was a good hill.
Congratulations on yesterday.
Thank you very
well
much.
Done.
Thank you.
We'll see you in Sligo.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank
Maybe
you.
Maybe Galway in between.
Yeah, hopefully.
Best of luck with that.
That's the plan, thanks.
I think we'll go and we'll see if we can have a quick chat with Russell there. So, but it's going to be a bit wobbly, Sarah, so maybe go over to something steadier. But I'll just try and get going straight into that when I find him, okay?
Thank you, Siobhan and Senan, and sorry to Siobhan that her first interview was clouded by sound issues. So I'm going to keep an eye on Senan's feed and see whether he can get a chat with Russell Stanworth, our winner today. He was fastest overall with a very, very good 55.33, so that's amazing. While we're waiting, I'm just gonna have a look again whether we got a time for Brian Kerwin, 416, or Aaron Kerwin for that matter. No. It's a bit hard. Maybe the timing people didn't think the 2 would come out again, but look. Like I said, I don't think these times count anyway. So we're just gonna see. I think, we're at the back of Russell's car, so that's great.
Russell, forgive me a moment. Over here. I believe congratulations are in order.
Yeah, I think so.
Well done.
Thank you.
Nice one. When did you feel that was going to happen? Very good.
Yeah, no, it's a great battle. Full weekend.
Yeah, let me just check this.
Good trading times.
Yeah, really exciting three-way battle.
There was 0.57 of a second between the three of us yesterday.
Wow.
First time run today, there was 4 100s.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's what we want this time of the year. Like that's brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, it was a class battle. Yeah, it's really good.
Must be really proud of the car. Did that price go up?
Well, it has now, yeah.
Okay. For sale. One extremely careful owner and a championship winner. So
Because of €1,000 per FTD. So.
yeah, right, yeah. So you'd want to look at the rate he's going. That price is going to go up further over in Sligo. So
Yeah, we'll
get your
see how
bids
we
in.
go. Yeah, oh, great weekend. Yeah, fabulous.
Great stuff.
Everybody's safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Done. Home
Job.
early.
Safe home.
Thank you.
Thank you. See ya.
Brilliant. Congratulations, Russell, and thank you for the interview, Senan. We're going to call it a day. This was round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb Sprint Championship 2025. It's been a great day, great day's racing, fantastic organization by the club, the community, everybody got in and helped make this a great event. So thank you so much everyone who made this event happen, marshals, organizers, and obviously the competitors and the officials. So thank you very much for tuning in. You, the spectators, you make it happen as well. So this was round 10 of the Electro Irish Hillclimb Sprint Championship 2025. Winner today was Russell Stanworth with a stunning 55.33. He's keeping the championship battle alive, so we're going to have a big showdown in Sligo on the 23rd and 24th of August. We're looking forward to being live then again, and we thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely Sunday and see you again next month.